Good afternoon, Kentucky. Good morning. Today, I'm here at the Emergency Operations Center, which is operating on level 2 as we monitor and respond to the winter storm moving through Kentucky. With me is Kentucky Emergency Management Director Eric Gibson and our Transportation Secretary Jim Gray, but the Emergency Operations Center is full. This is an all hands on deck. You have a lot of Kentucky's finest as well as FEMA, which is here with us working to respond to each and every call or need that is out there. This weather event was forecast to have 36 straight hours of snow, sleet, and ice combined with dangerously cold temperatures, which are set to continue through next week. The forecast is proving to be as treacherous as it was forecasted, though we are now getting more ice and less snow than originally predicted. That is not good news for Kentucky. What it means is that the roads are that much more dangerous and that the dangerous conditions are going to extend into next week as these conditions are going to be difficult to treat. Please call us here at the center. We've got a ton of people who are really good at this that are ready to help you. But with these dangerous cold temperatures, if your power is out, we want you to go to a warming center. We currently have more than 112 warming centers set up across the Commonwealth. I think there's a slide up next to me now where you can see them. The map you're seeing now shows all locations. This site is linked across my social for those in need. You can also get it at kym.ky.gov. Our Kentucky State Parks have also set up warming centers. If you cue the slide, it is most all of our parks. I'm not going to read through them, but you can pick up your phone, call your local state park, and they can tell you as long as they have power, we're going to take people in who don't and make sure that you make it through this storm. If you're traveling to a state park, please use caution. And for park updates, you can visit parks.ky.gov. National Guard is ready to help those that are in need. Guard members, which are soldiers and airmen, are currently across the state already in 53 of our armories across 42 counties. The Guard's begun making rounds in local communities. They started that yesterday. They're continuing to do wellness checks and prepare for any needed transports due to power outages. They're helping a lot of medical professionals in some parts of the state get to their hospitals and places of practice. If you need that help, please reach out. The teams have preloaded near areas expected to receive increased ice accumulation. Now for additional updates, I'm going to turn it over to Director Gibson.
Thank you very much, Governor, for just a few minutes to just provide some more detailed updates on some things. The Governor's done a good job of summarizing how things have been going this week, and we do appreciate the early warning from our meteorologists and our stations. If people have taken heed to the warning, we didn't see as many issues overnight as we could have. And I think that has a lot to say about the people heeding the warnings that were put out. There was good messaging about it, and we've heard well that the roads were clear and our transportation crews were able to make good progress through the night. But this morning we woke up to, many of you all have woke up to a freezing rain across our southern part of our state, and we're starting to see that be the most impactful area. And we're not out of the woods on that yet. That area of our state's going to continue to see this freezing rain come down for next several hours, and that's going to continue to worsen the impact. This morning, as the Governor's talked about already, our power outages have started to surge, which will increase the need for our resources in that area. And we've already started to shift to our impacted area with our National Guard folks, our forestry folks, and making sure that we're prepared to answer any commodity requests in that area. We do have those ready. And if you are a local official and you're tuned into this and you need assistance, or if you're in need of a warming center and you're having trouble finding that, we have our number here at the call center that is staff. We have individuals that are standing by to take your call. It's 50. I'll put the number up at the end. It's available on our website, and I'll give it to you now. If you need assistance that you're not getting, and we can help you with that, our number is 502-607-6665. And I'll repeat it one more time, 502-607-6665. And we can help you with finding your warming center or finding some aid that you may need. And if you're a local official and we haven't talked to you and you're having trouble, we know there are cell phone outages sporadically across that southern area that's been impacted by this. So we're going to do our very best to make sure we find multiple ways to communicate with you, maybe even in-person visits if you're a local official. We're trying to make sure that we're doing our very best to make contact with you. Our warming centers that the governor talked about are open. We've asked our local officials to put those posted on there. They have the ability to turn those on when they open them. And so you're seeing that map updated continuously if there's one in your area by your local officials. And we continue to work very closely with those across this area to make sure that the community is getting what it needs. And if we can support them, we're here to do that. We know that this weather is going to continue all throughout this day. The National Weather Service is here in the EOC, so we do get continuous updates. And I just spoke with them before this began, and definitely expect a full day of this, precipitation of some form, whether it be rain, freezing rain, turning into snow and ice and sleet. So we're going to see a mixed bag for the rest of the day, and you all are watching the news and you're catching that as well. But we're watching that here. We just say that so that you know that we're keeping up with things that are going on for our situational awareness, and we remain prepared to meet the needs of the Commonwealth. We took the week of advance notice on this storm to prepare by moving commodities into your communities, and we have more commodities such as drinking water if you have water outages later on after this event unfolds, and generators at hand to a limited number, but definitely have generators available to help communities survive this incident. We've got a lot of National Guard folks that are available to help us get these roads clear. As we know, local road crews are going to struggle, and our National Guard folks stand by and ready to assist. They're as heavily staffed as they could possibly be. We know that area between that Pulaski County over to Barron County are heavily impacted. And so as we see that going on, we know that there is, issues in that area, and we're specifically focused on that. But if you have additional needs or concerns, please, again, call here at the EOC. There's a watch desk that you're regularly calling, but also that additional number we've opened up to take more calls as our lines are staying pretty busy today. Again, 502-607-6665. We stand ready to help. The EOC is fully staffed, and we're here for you all. Thank you very much.
All right. Next, we're going to hear from Secretary Jim Gray. Let me start again by saying our roadways and overpasses are slick. Conditions are dangerous. Right now, it is simply not safe to drive on our roads. We're asking everyone to avoid travel, not only because you could hurt yourself or someone else, but also because fuel availability is low in certain parts of Kentucky. The tankers aren't able to make it through this to a lot of our gas stations. So if you get out there, you may run out of gas. You may get to that gas station and not be able to refuel and to be stuck. So please don't drive anywhere unless you absolutely have to. Again, that opens up space for our highway crews. Remember, they're Kentuckians. They want to go home to their families at the end of the day. They are out in difficult conditions for you, for your safety, and to try to get everything up and running faster. So let's make sure that we take their safety seriously. Over 1,500 state-owned and contracted plow trucks have now been deployed, and our teams are pulling from a stockpile of 311,000 tons of salt and over 1 million gallons of brine for anti-icing efforts. And so now that I've taken all of his updates, here's Secretary Gray.
Thank you, Governor. Well, Governor said earlier, he said, we cannot say enough. We cannot emphasize enough, punctuate it enough, echo it enough, that we are asking Kentuckians to please stay off the roads. This is going to be a very rough day, the next 24 hours. Our crews reported less traffic yesterday, last night, which made it safer and more efficient for them to do their jobs. These folks are maneuvering heavy equipment and vehicles, and so having more room to do their work really helps them out. Now, this is an image, James, of some of our vehicles. It's called an echelon arrangement, which is covering an entire area, entire lanes of I-75. Now, thanks to our thousands, 2,300 skilled, resilient highway crew members, snow fighters, they are responding now, and they responded before the storm hit. We literally spent last week dialed in to the weather forecast, planning. We got ourselves ready to meet the dynamic challenges that we knew each region was going to have from heavy snow to ice glazed roadways, and our teams responded accordingly. I've been checking, in fact, this morning with our chief district engineers in our districts around the state. They have all reported that our forces are ready for anything that is thrown at them. The governor said it last night. We are in full force statewide. Every county is actuated, treating and plowing roads of snow from morning to throughout the night. 12-hour shifts since the snow started, and no letting up. Overnight, freezing rain entered the equation for most of the state except northern Kentucky. I don't have to tell you that ice presents serious threats that can make travel nearly impossible and literally not just dangerous, but treacherous. We've had to adapt from responding to snow on the roads to addressing ice and the unique challenges that it presents. And this is a photo in Barron County showing the snow last night and the ice this morning. These frigid temperatures challenge the effectiveness of our anti-icing materials and increase the risk of refreezing on wet pavement. That's the risk for tonight, the refreezing risk on wet pavement, making roadways extremely slick. Can plow snow, yes, but it is not easy at all to scrape ice off of roadways. Again, all good reasons to avoid travel. All good reasons to avoid travel. Ice is also starting to weigh down trees and power lines. The governor's already talked about this as well. This is causing reports of low-hanging limbs and downed trees in places like Bowling Green and Glasgow and southern and eastern Kentucky, Pulaski. While the most serious threat during power outages is to human life in this cold weather, we expect to get reports of more dark traffic signals and blocked roadways due to downed power lines. In areas where downed trees are tangled in power lines, our crews must coordinate with utility partners who must address the lines before debris can be cleared and roads reopened. We are partnering with trained National Guard and Division of Forestry staff who are on tap to help us in certain areas cut and move trees as our crews so they can focus on treating and plowing roads. So this is a partnership that is running across crossing agencies. Our priority is to continue to ensure that our interstates, parkways, and major highways remain passable, to ensure access for critical emergency services. This is what the governor already talked about as well, to ensure critical services. That's why we spent a lot of time leading up to this event to pre-treat our lower volume routes, which we will ramp up efforts to address once we can get past the crux of the storm. As of 9:30, no current reported major road issues or closures this morning, 9:30 Eastern time. Now, even our own outfitted plow trucks are encountering very challenging conditions. Like this morning, a contracted truck in Louisville hit a construction barrier and impacted a signal. This is just to demonstrate that this is a serious system, a serious storm, no matter what kind of vehicle you're in. Again, as the governor has pointed out, we are expecting to see more snow, sleet, and ice through early Monday morning, with impacts varying by region, but worsening travel conditions statewide. We're expecting to see temperatures at or below zero, brutal for the rest of the week, which is why I want to close with a few tips as well. Do not be out on roads unless absolutely critical and necessary. If you encounter a signal that is dark or flashing, treat that intersection as an all-way stop. Slow down, come to a complete stop, and proceed only when it's safe to do so. Crews are working with utility partners and local agencies to restore service as quickly as they can. Stay weather alert. This cold is sticking around, and we expect travel to still be challenging tomorrow and the rest of the week. Do not call 911 for road conditions, to ask about road conditions. Check out our website, snowky.ky.gov. That's snowky.ky.gov. And there you will find access to our Go KY traffic cams, roadway incidents, links to your local highway district social media accounts so you can track conditions in your area and get driver tips. Now, I want to in closing, want to thank our partners, our partner agencies, Kentucky Emergency Management, Director Gibson, the Kentucky State Police, the National Guard, the Forestry Service, the power companies, county and city road crews that we're working together with, wrecker services who have been dispatched in ahead of time in hot spots, and many more as they respond alongside our snow fighters to keep Kentuckians safe. I want to thank all of them. Now, I want to thank also, in closing, the public so much for your help and partnership. Please continue to bear with us as we work around the clock, and know that it's going to take some time to see significant improvements. Our folks are serving the communities where they live, their own homes, and are committed to restoring connections as soon as we can. So thanks for your help by giving us the room to work for you. Governor, back to you.
Thank you. In one additional update, we've gotten word that the TVA is aware of a phishing email impersonating TVA about rolling blackouts. If you receive it, do not click on it. Again, the TVA is aware of a phishing email that's impersonating them, the utility, about rolling blackouts. If you receive it, do not click. So if you're the media in that area, please amplify that message. Those whose social media is read in that area, please amplify that message. We don't want people's personal information, email, or the rest being hacked or altered, so please do not click that. Okay, we got a long day and night ahead of us. We need everybody to take precautions, so I've got a few tips too. Do not travel unless it's an emergency. Keep your phones charged and have backup flashlights if needed. Make sure you have a weather safety kit ready with blankets, etc. So if you still have power right now and you don't have a weather safety kit, why don't you put one together with stuff in your home? Why don't you take that time to do it right now? Know where your local warming center is in case of a power outage. Go online right now and make sure you see it. If the media in given areas will amplify where their warming centers are, that will be helpful. Keep your pets indoors. We want all of our pets to make it through it too. Do not go outside for extended periods of time. If you use a generator, have it at least 20 feet from your home. Thankfully, in the last few weather disasters, we haven't lost anyone to carbon monoxide poisoning, but that happened a lot in the past. We don't want to lose one person to that. You can't have your generator in your house, in your garage, close to your house. Make sure it is far enough away and has proper ventilation. And why don't you check on your neighbors? Why don't you call your family? I've got some family staying with me just to make sure they're safe throughout this whole thing. And finally, when you shovel, when you get out, which should not be today with everything, make sure you take breaks. Last year, we lost 6 people, 6 children of God, 6 people who have families that miss them in incidents related to shoveling. That was just during the January ice storm, I believe. 7 more people were lost due to falls, being outside, or hypothermia in 2024 and 2025. I want everybody to make it through this safely. I look around this EOC, and most people here helped us after an F4 tornado stayed on the ground 200 miles in Kentucky, have helped us through the worst flooding we've seen time and time and time again. We don't want to lose somebody to a snow and an ice storm that we know, with the right precautions, that you can make it through. We care about each and every one of you, so please take this seriously. I want everybody to be safe, so don't take a risk. It's just not worth it. And remember, if you need help, it's available. Once again, we need folks to avoid calling 911 unless it's an emergency. If you're an emergency, call 911. But otherwise, you can call your local KSP post. If lines are busy, We have an established unmet needs line that was read, 502-607-6665. That's what's been ringing over here. I'm glad it's ringing. And we're going to answer it through press conference or anything else because everybody in here is working and they're working for you. We'll keep providing updates via social media and other means. Tonight, we're going to evaluate the roads and give an update ahead of the Monday morning commutes. You know, I'm an employer too. I'm in charge of Kentucky's executive branch, which is about 30,000 members. So I'm watching those roads really closely, and we're going to be careful going into Monday. I'm not going to have people out there unnecessarily if they're not safe. So please watch for an update later tonight. And for businesses, be flexible. I mean, if this freezing continues and it gets so cold it can't be treated overnight, be flexible with your employees if you can be. Remember, we'll get through this. We'll get through it together just like we always do. So everybody stay safe. We now have about 5 journalists on the line. We'll go through them quickly. We'll start with Paul Miles from WHAS Radio.
Thank you, Governor. During storms like this, there is usually a mutual aid in which other states send their utility workers across the borders to help restore power. But because surrounding states are also dealing with this same snow and ice, is there any concern that because the mutual aid may not be available, that power restoration in Kentucky could be delayed or take longer? And should residents plan to be without electricity for an extended period of time?
I do not have that concern because the National Weather Service, all the meteorologists out there, you all at WHAS and so many more gave us such advance notice that the utility companies brought in a ton of contractors and they are ready to roll. We've talked with the ones that are been hit the most, and we're sending teams to help them get debris out of the roadway to do the cut and tossing. So we'll be amplifying the needs of the utility workers with the National Guard, and our forestry group does a great job with that. They're out in all of these. So Paul, right now, because we knew this was coming and because we've been through 14 other of these before today, no, I think we're going to have a very large group of utility workers. With that said, I think people in the areas hit most by the ice need to plan and prepare to have another place to go, if not the warming center, for certainly today, maybe tonight, and then we'll have more information as that comes. We're dealing with it in real time. And so I think here today we'll have a better sense of the scope in the hardest hit areas by ice and the timing of getting those utilities back up and the power back on. Karen Czar, WKY.
Thank you, Governor. As you mentioned, there have been several natural disasters during your administration. Compared to others, how stretched thin are our resources, especially since this is a statewide event? And what is specifically being done to support the elderly and disabled? Thank you.
This is a statewide event, so it takes a lot of resources, thankfully. Between state and local cooperation, we've got a lot of resources. This was drill weekend for our National Guard, so we have more Guard available right now in the moment for this event than we've had for virtually any other event. KYTC, with the extra time provided, again, by the National Weather Service and all of our meteorologists, they are so important. We were able to bring in all of our contractors. And so when we have advance notice, and these go to the last 2 questions, we're allowed to pull all the resources we would normally take if we had a storm that came out of nowhere, and we would call in afterwards. We have right here at the ready. We are taking calls in from any nursing homes and others that may need help. We're actually proactively reaching out to the hospitals in the communities. But we also need Kentuckians to make sure they're looking out after our seniors. If you have an older neighbor, please make that call. Please check on them. You know, every disaster we've been through, folks in this room, the Guard, first responders make a lot of saves and take care of a lot of people. But Kentuckians take care of more of their neighbors than we could ever. So calling on everybody out there, check on that senior, make sure they're okay. Bring them into your home if they need some extra help. Carolina from WLEX.
Good morning, Governor. You said less snow, more ice is actually bad news, and you mentioned uncertainty about conditions for the Monday morning commute. Are these icy conditions something that road crews can actually clear up in time, or are we anticipating big challenges?
I'm anticipating challenges Monday morning. And depending on how cold it gets, I'm anticipating challenges potentially through Monday. Once the temperature gets below a certain amount, what we use to treat the roads just doesn't work as well. And so I think people need to anticipate that we're going to be impacted through a portion of this week. Now, if conditions are a little bit better, transportation's out there doing all of it. We don't look at the temperature going down and say, no, we're not going to treat it. We get out there and we do it. So we'll be providing updates. I know WLEX will be providing updates as they come in, but I think we ought to anticipate significant issues with travel on Monday morning. If this is just leaving the state by 2 a.m., and it's going to be as cold as it is tonight going into tomorrow, going into next week, we ought to anticipate that it will continue. But with it moving out, our utility crews and others are going to be able to work that much easier without all of the weather conditions impacting them tomorrow and through the week. Cody from WHAS 11.
Hi, Governor. Are there specific areas in the state outside of the southern region that you think are going to get worse, or what do we think is going to happen moving forward this week?
James, can you put the radar up? That's well, it was over here. Let us pull that up if we can and show you the map. You all have been seeing it right now. Barron County, Allen County. All right, and we'll get this up. It's interesting when you see the radar right now. You've got green, red, orange, and blue. The green looks like it's rain. It's not. It comes down. It freezes. Those are the areas that are getting hit. It starts on our southern border, kind of at Allen County, and it goes all the way up to Ashland. That part east, I think, is going to get a lot of ice. And then, all the way up to Frankfort, if you draw that diagonal line again, going through the state, is looking like it's going to get a significant amount too. So that's another good point. When you are looking at the weather radar right now, if it's showing rain, when that lands, it's freezing. You ought to treat that like it's just ice that's coming down. All right, and finally, RJ Johnson from WDKY.
Hi, yes. What are some of the priorities heading into the overnight, especially in Southern Kentucky, as you see all those outages that are there?
Our two priorities are keeping people off the roads and restoring power as quickly as possible. Where the power is out, our priority is having warming centers at the ready, having guard and other first responders that can help with either wellness check or transportation if that's needed. The hospitals in the area, making sure that they are operating, the water systems, if they have pump stations or others that operate off of electricity, what type of generators do they need? So we take a look at both the people living in an area and all the critical infrastructure. What we'll also be looking at is where there is kind of congregate care and or people staying in congregate settings, where power is out, how long is that going to be out? So we have one state park that has guests. We're going to make a call once we know how long we think the power is going to be out, about whether we need to transport them to another location. Same if we find out we have a nursing home that's going to be out of power for a significant period of time. So our priorities, especially right now, are assessing those hardest hit areas, the impacts that threaten life, and then responding and reacting to them to make sure we get people to safety. But the two biggest things are the amount of power outages, which just went over 60,000. That's since we've been doing this press conference, so up about 9,000, and trying to get that power, trying to get people off the roads and safe. Okay, everybody at the EOC is working hard. Everybody in emergency management in the counties is working hard. From the people of Kentucky, we need you to work hard, and all that means is stay home. Stay off the roadways, stay with your family, have some fun with them during this, check on your neighbors. We'll be working hard to make sure we can get roads passable as soon as possible, as well as working with utilities to make sure people have power. Everybody out there, take care. Thanks to everybody here and around the state that's working.